usual to a part of the new tour. Good afternoon to you. We have the models dressed in imperial outfits by Cleveland, Ohio. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Now I want to know who is driving this car on the tour today. Was that you? David, actually, in the 1928. Good afternoon. Today, and may I say how elegant you and your passengers look. I feel like we've just gone back to 1920s midnight. Racing cars in Italy in the late 1920s and 1930s. A car just like this won the 1930 millennium. Now if you look at these headlight covers on the as well. Car was delivered to him in 1936, and he had it bodied by Anton, who was a relatively little known coach builder in Paris. He took it with him at the outbreak of World War II to the States, and that's where Steve happened 2 years ago. I'm going to let you go, but that's so much. Greatly old screen. Motherboard. The habitual passengers of this car were none other than Duke Ellington, Edith Piaf, and the lesbian and firm Vanden Plas. He didn't have any success in finding a buyer for it, so the car went back to England. It was shown at the 1938 London Motor Show. It found a buyer in the UK. He later took it to Trinidad, where it raced against XK120s after the war, apparently terrorizing most of the XK120s. Last year in your hands. Congratulations. You win a special prize. Which prize is it? The most sensitive and one of the most expensive. £2,200. BMW service lady, she'll tell you where to stop. This is owned by Vauxhall from Italy.
Where are you going now?
And it's good to see the whole car in the world. We gave it a V12 engine. The coachwork was in-house. This particular car is, I think I'm right in saying, the first British, relatively large manufacturer, rivaling Ferrari in terms of the size of its offering. But back in the 1950s, Maserati was virtually unknown outside of racing circles. In fact, when this car was built, Maserati only made a grand total of 60 road cars in its entire career. They realized that they needed to. Abarth was the brainchild of Karl Abarth, who became Carlo Abarth when he moved. 1926 in Turin, Società Italiana Autotrasformazione. entirely dissimilar to the Maserati that we just saw, you can tell that this was a car which was destined not only for the Italian market, but also for the American market. Factory in Longbridge, and this, as you probably guessed, with its wicker-work seats and its absence of any doors or windows, is Birmingham's answer to the Fiat. Shiro, good afternoon, and welcome. It's good to see you. Shiro he started out as a graphic designer. He later became a very successful because his collection numbers no fewer than 49 awards. Started building Fiats under license in Spain after the war in order to escape the punitive import taxes that the Spanish As the name suggests, this was a car built very much with the wealthy received the V8 that Fiat had reserved for its flagship model. Now look at some of the details on this as well. The external filler, every boy racer's dream, 2 litre, just as from Germany has entered the ex-UK press car. The participants medal. Now, La Flèche. Why is it called La Flèche? It's called La Flèche, which means, I'm sure you know, because of its chrome moldings on the side and the coachwork moldings, which give the Ronaldo and the family were able to buy the car. They have restored it completely. Now the designer of this car, who is very much still with us, was let's say an under Black was considered a colour that you only ordered for taxis, not for sports cars, which explains why only 3 of these Ferraris are red, and thankfully so. This was the last dual-purpose Ferrari rolling. More aerodynamic. This particular car was shown at the 1961 Geneva show, and the buyer there was a young Swiss enthusiast who managed to get enough money together to ask the importer who their factory to sell the car. Circuit in Belgium, where he actually something terrible happens to them, and then it ends with redemption for the hero, and that's pretty much the sequence of every movie. And this car could also in itself have a movie written about it, because the first time the company saw this car, from the bride's leading bridge builders. And at the time, Touring of Milan, who had styled the original DB4 10 plus years earlier, submitted their suggestion. Now, rather than in front, this is old-fashioned practice. The car's styling, as many of you will recognize, are back to the 250 GTO that have been successful just 1 or 2 years before. And yet, of course, I even starred in a couple of his movies, Marinai in Coperta, and I think Giovanotti as well. It was a car that he enjoyed driving. He sold it after a year or so, and the next owner, believe it or not, changed the It's a great example of with American muscle, because underneath this very 67, a very famous Italian received a very beautiful car, and it's the car that you're about to see for a minute. The car is a Maserati Mistral Spider. Adolfo's grandfather obviously had something about winds, because all Maseratis at the time were named after a wind. Another loyal owner smiling broadly in the background. And there it is, Oliver Ruppertog from Germany with the Maserati Mistral Spider, delivered to a man described as the greatest tenor of the 20th century, Mario del Monaco. Good afternoon and welcome. This is an unbelievably preserved car. The same Verde Aqua, rose green paintwork, the Comunicatore del Monaco, specified in 1967, is the paint on the car today. So is the interior. It has covered 26,000 kilometers from new, but more remarkable than that is the fact that it covered an additional undergoes before finally being restored back into its original colour and finished. Every Greenpeace member's nightmare. Also used V8 Vantage and all of its glitz was much more rockman than the tech fest that was the Porsche 959 was more. War-style cars that have gone before, this seemed entirely modern and unusual. Now this car in particular has a special association with Villa d'Este because after racing on the 1949mm, I think it was, and it came, well, we won't say it too loudly, but and away you go. Plus, of course, the spare wheel right there in the back for easy access when they're taking cars back. But this was exactly the sort of car. A lot of fun side going on. This is not exactly the sort of car the Italian. It'll be running on 4 by tomorrow, I'm sure. Now this is something which you will in thinking that this was somebody's bright idea, that there was so much congestion on the road that if you made cars half as wide,
save, and as you can see,
of that 2 years of intense work on, and it seems extraordinary today, a fully grown 5-year-old recently married chassis.
Yeah.
Gerade. Nochmal gerade. Ja. Und rüber. Stopp. Ja.
Bei mir ist Platz, auf der rechten Seite ist gut. Kann er gerade rein.
Bisschen mehr, er muss nach links rüber.
Ja.
Mehr. Gerade.
Schon ein bisschen, ja. So.
Und jetzt gerade.
Er muss erst rein.
Ja, er kommt jetzt rein. Alles gut, ja, hier bei mir passt. Hier kann jeder durch.
Weißt du, drüben ist noch Platz, er kann noch ruhig mit drüben.
Okay.
Gut.
Okay.
So.
Nee, ein bisschen noch.
Moment, bis es raus ist.
Ja.